So, welcome. I'm so happy that so many of you were able to make it. I know midday can be kind of hard for people. I try to make it around lunchtime for people so that you don't end up missing out on the call so you can have it during your lunch break. And so today I want to talk about movement for energy. And this is mostly for people that are in treatment, but also because even post-treatment, we're often still dealing with the effects. And in general, we get fatigued. It's just part of life. Um, so whether you're dealing with it from apps like from treatment, or you're just here to just figure out ways to get more energy, I want to start by saying never feel like you're lazy or weak, or that you're just like you're not doing enough, because that's not the case. Cancer-related fatigue is real, and it's very different from just regular tiredness. And so the goal of the call today, um, we will move forward here to that, um, is to kind of understand the difference between cancer-related fatigue and just like I am just feeling really tired today, because there is a little bit of a difference. And then also to learn like how it is that we can continue to move safely when we're feeling very tired and improve our energy when we're feeling this way, because it's counterintuitive. Our brains often go, which I will probably repeat a couple times during this call, our brains often go to, you know, I'm tired, therefore I need to rest. And so it's navigating which one we're feeling. Um, and then just ways to choose the different movements depending on where we are in that day. Avoiding the boom bust cycle. I don't know if people have heard of that before, but I'll go into details about that. And then I'm going to leave this call, hoping that you walk away with a very simple plan that you can use right away. You can start using right away. So jumping right into it, like I said, cancer fatigue does not equal regular tiredness. It's just different, period. Um, with cancer fatigue, it's kind of like having like you're trying to charge a battery and it's just not charging no matter what you do. So we think of that as that charging the battery as us, our brain goes to, I need to rest more. And that doesn't people will often find that even no matter what, like I'll hear people say that I feel like I slept so much and it didn't help at all. I still feel very fatigued. So that battery is just not getting charged. And that can really affect mood. It can affect the way your brain, chemo brain is a thing, but it also can just affect whether you're, even if it's not chemo that you're going through, it's a different type of treatment, or you're, like I said, your post-treatment. It can affect your emotions and your confidence. Um, and so I want you to know that when you have these feelings, you are not alone. And that's part a lot of what we do, is you are surrounded by people that understand. You have a coach, a mentor, a person that's there to support you. Reach out to them if you get to that point of just feeling like, dang, I'm really struggling. I'm really tired and I can't get past it. And no, it's not a personal failure. It's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's just what happens with treatment. And like I said, you don't know what's going to day to day. One day you wake up and you're like, what did I do? I feel like I finally feel like I have some energy. I'm feeling better. And then the next day might be very different. It's not, again, not anything necessarily that you're doing. It's kind of what's happening to your body during this time. And again, I think it's really, really critical because I do hear people say, I just feel so lazy. Never say that. Like, never try really hard not to do that kind of self-talk, because the feeling that you're having is real. And just being able to allow it and then figure out ways to move forward, which is the purpose of this call, like how it is that movement and why movement can help fight fatigue. Again, counterintuitive. I'm going to say that a few times. Our brain goes to, I'm tired, fatigued. I want to sleep. And so when you're feeling like that and you're thinking, gosh, I don't really want to do anything, um, re remind yourself that there is real purpose behind movement and for anyone. You don't have to be going through cancer. Movement is really, really critical for fighting fatigue. It's one of the best things that you can do for fatigue. And the reason for that is that it improves your circulation. Movement, when we start to breathe a little harder, that's oxygen flowing through our body. So that's improving your circulation. So if you're having if you're, having like feeling really cold, like often going through treatment, you feel it very cold, neuropathies, things like that. It improves circulation and that oxygen delivery to throughout the body. There's absolutely no question that it supports your mood. It's very rare that I will have one of the people on the call today said I just got came from a workout. I guarantee she's feeling better after that workout than she was going into it. It supports, your mood. It reduces your stress, helps with sleep. Um, and really, really importantly, it builds strength so that daily tasks like walking upstairs take less effort. So that frustration of, gosh, I feel like I can't even do a flight of stairs without feeling really tired. You can feel like that you get that strength by doing these exercises. One of the champion from one of our first champions would always take the stairs. This is probably a decade ago now. She said she would always take the stairs to her chemo treatment because she wanted to feel stronger going into it and keep that strength up going into it. She's going through a tough round of chemo, and every time she would take those stairs. Um, and I've said this before, but the other thing is that with movement and having a little bit of control over that part of our lives, um, it 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 builds our confidence. Going through this journey, people can feel like their lives have been taken over. Like it's appointments and I got to be here and then I've got radiation or I've got this and I can't and I got to be on a call and that sense of just I've lost control of my life because cancer is taking up so much of the time. This is an area that you can actually control and you get to do and you get to make the choices of what you want to do. Um, many of you, this is my dog Daisy, by the way. Many of you have heard my story and my why. And one of my biggest whys was my mom going through her cancer journey after I had already lost my dad to cancer. And she um, was terminal. And, this was 20 some odd years ago now. And she was told, you should just rest. You should just, save your energy to fight the cancer. And when she just had 3 months left to, what they thought 3 months left of her life to go, she decided that she wanted to hike in and out of the Grand Canyon. And I, um, brief, the long story is a lot longer, but the shortened story is that she, um, she decided she wanted to do this pretty big, task of climbing in and out of the Grand Canyon. And so again, 20 years ago, she was told to just rest. And we got her moving and she was able to hike in and out of the Grand Canyon. But what we really discovered in getting her moving was that she suddenly had more energy. She had an appetite for the first time in, many, many, many months. Her mood was better. Her quality of life got better while she was terminal. And she lived 3 years longer than her diagnosis. So it's really important to recognize that that it's just a myth, the just rest. Like it, but and her hiking out of the Grand Canyon was a huge effort. Um, and so like being aware of like where meeting you where you are, like that the last thing we want to do is push you too far. So we got to make sure that we find that happy balance. Um, but the other problem with like the resting only and not getting a chance to get up and get moving is that it can lead to deconditioning. And so then when we're deconditioned, when we have, muscle, that when we have that the muscle and the strength and all the things that are needed to have a good, strong, healthy body, even during this journey, we start to lose it the more we're resting. So the muscles aren't getting used. And then that deconditioning can make the fatigue even worse. So then it's like a downhill spiral. And so keeping like that balance of getting sleep is important, getting rest is important, but the goal is to move more. Um, but like I said, it's also really important. Like with my mom, her journey, yes, she hiked in and out of the Grand Canyon, which was an amazing feat for somebody in her condition. But we started with a walk to the end of her sidewalk and back. We did not start off with a 2 mile walk. We took our time building. We started small, we stayed consistent, and that's how we were able to achieve that goal. And so like if it's somebody who's just starting back into getting their fitness going, or if it's been a bit, um, keep your intensity gentle. So, I'll often say to the people I'm working with, like, start off with if you're walking, imagine if you're walking alone, imagine if you're walking with a friend, you're having a conversation like I'm having now. And if you're wanting to increase the blood flow and the things that we've been talking about, then you can pick up the pace and imagine as you're talking, you're taking a few breaths. So then that's like a kind of a medium place to go. So you can still have a conversation, but it's a little bit more paused. That gives you an idea. So without having to check heart rate and or wear gadgets to tell you what your heart rate is. Those are just little ways of measuring. And then finally, picking up the pace enough where it's difficult to carry on a conversation. Those are kind of where you can kind of change the levels of intensity, but always start gentle. Um, Leave energy in your tank. Like leave a little bit left for the rest of your day. I don't want you to go out, move, get things done, do the workout that maybe I've prescribed to you. I always say to people, we're going to start with really slow, and it might be frustrating, but I want you to end the workout feeling exhilarated and full of energy and have more to give the rest of your day. Um, and the other thing is modifications. Anyone that works with me, anyone that becomes a cancer champion, you get your own personalized program. And I always ask, are there any conditions that I need to be aware of? And we need to modify based on those conditions. Well, we also need to modify based on your symptoms and your treatment that you're going through. So have awareness around, oh, I'm going through radiation. Um, I'm feeling tired, which is a very normal thing to feel going through radiation, and honor that and maybe do a little less those days. And if you're ever unsure, like if something comes along and like you're starting to feel a certain something different, never ever hesitate to reach out to your care team because it's super important to make sure that you're doing everything that doing it safely. And I think it's important to think in terms of we're not trying to necessarily, if those that are in treatment, in the middle of treatment, it's not about let's get in shape. that is not, it's not like it's January, everyone's talking about getting in shape. That's not really our goal when we're going through treatment. Our goal is to support your body and to protect your energy. It's not about like let's get out there and build more muscle and at this stage. That can come and it will come, I promise you, when you're ready for it. But when you're in the middle of treatment, just honor where you are. And it's kind of like the rules are kind of simple, like start small, keep it gentle, focus on consistency, consistency, consistency. If you can do a little bit every day, that's a lot better than doing a whole lot on Monday and then being exhausted until Thursday. We don't want that. We want just small, steady, and consistent. And so speaking of that, those that have been through treatment are in treatment and really honestly in daily life, there's kind of we have energy zones. We've all had even elite athletes, you'll hear them say, it just wasn't my day today. I've done a lot of marathons and in my marathon training, I'll have days where I'm like, whoa, that was a really long run. I just blew through it. It was great. I felt great. And then the next week, I could have the worst run that I've had in months. So it's just you kind of got to meet yourself where you are and know that, that's just how things are. We have up days and we have down days. Um, this is a little side note. I remember reading once that our moods or the way that we feel should be actually in thirds. So it's like a really normal thing to have like really kind of crappy days. Like a third of your life could be kind of crappy days. And then a third are kind of neutral days. Like, yeah, how's your day? I mean, it's good. It's today. It's whatever. And then a third are like oh my God, this is like the greatest day. I'm just having so much fun. Everything is great. And that's a really normal cycle. Again, this is a little side to what we're talking about, but not 100% aside. I think often we feel like we're not allowed to have just kind of a crap day. When the experts say a third of your life is you're going to have those days, or maybe part of your day is just going to be like meh, like a Monday. So give yourself grace, and you're allowed to have those days. Um, so think about like the zones. Like there's just those days where you're just like, I really just want to get through the day. I just want to get through the day and then lay down with my pups and snuggle and have the day be done. And so be aware of those days, but still try to get out and move because that movement will make that crap day less of a crap day. So even if it's an 5 minutes, 2 minutes, just a little bit of movement, I promise you makes a difference. And so many people are kind of all or nothing and don't realize that 5 minutes a day does over the course of weeks, months, it will make a difference. 5, 10 minutes will make a difference. So do it. So if you do 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes more than you would have done otherwise. So feel good about that. And then also think about just mobility. Like the site has breath work videos using those. Like if it's one of those days where you're having a not so you're just kind of feeling blah, it's gloomy, which it has been a lot. Um, Put one of the breathwork videos on and just listen to that and breathe. And that alone can kind of change things, doing that deep breathing. Again, oxygen, and that we need that. Um, and so that's those are kind of the survival days. And then the zone two is kind of your medium energy day. Like I'm like I said, that's the middle. That's where you're like, I feel all right. And so, and again, these are just numbers that I'm putting out there. That take those and figure out how they apply best to you. So for some, it might be like, yeah, the on my zone one days. 2 minutes, that's my max. I'm going to be good with that. Zone two, I'm gonna 10 minutes, I'm gonna keep it on that end of it. And then there's those of you that'll be like, my low energy days are gonna be 30 minutes. And my medium days are going to be 45 minutes, and then my higher days are going to be 90 minutes. So these are just numbers I'm throwing out there, but you figure out how they best apply to you. So on those kind of medium energy days, those are the days where you try to take a little bit of advantage of like you're feeling not bad and get out and try and get that 10 to 20 minutes of walking in or and add in some mobility. Mobility is flexibility, right? So it's just a bit like the movement of your arm or doing, some like deeper kind of squats or goddess. So we get the movement in our knee joints, like the little twisting, putting your arm behind you, opening your pectoralis area, that kind of mobility. Um, Zone three, those are the high energy. Those are the days where you're like, I feel good. And take advantage of those, but take advantage of those in a careful way. So you're feeling great. It's a build day. This is a day where, so the survival day is just let's get by. The maintenance day is just maintaining exactly the word, what it is. Like just try and keep your fitness, right? I'm going to try and keep my fitness. I'm going to get my 10 to 20 minutes that I've dedicated to myself in. And then your zone three day is like, ooh, I'm feeling good. I'm going to do a little bit more today and try to build more strength. So that is, you've got your base, and then you're adding a building block on by doing that, doing a little bit more on those zone three days. And one of the most powerful skills is learning how to move based on today. So it's not based on what you wish you could do. It's this is what I can do today and recognizing which of those 3 days you're having, if that makes sense. Also, I should have said this at the very beginning. If you have a question and you're like me, where the question will go away, don't worry about unmuting yourself and saying, "Hey, Jen, I have a question." You can pause me at any time. I mean, I will leave plenty of time at the end of the call for any questions. It doesn't have to be related to this talk. It can be a question about anything. And if I have the answer, I'll answer it. And if I don't, I will get the answer. So I should have said that at the beginning, but we're halfway through it. And now I'm telling you, feel free to just pause me and ask me a question. Um, Okay, so the we talked like the this is like an idea of let me see, yeah, the an idea of what you can do, like a menu of the types of things that you can be doing. Um, they're just simple suggestions, and you could choose from these. Again, you each have your own programs, and so we can kind of figure out ways to incorporate these into what you're currently doing. Um, but like option A, as you can see, it's 60 seconds of breathings, and then it's the shoulder rolls and neck release. So again, this goes to mobility, which I was talking about earlier. Um, Marching in place, or I don't know if you guys have heard about walking pads. It's like a toned down treadmill that takes up a lot less space in the house, a lot less expensive, and it allows um, especially for people who live in inclement weather, be able to just like walk. But if you don't have a walking pad, and if you want to know more about walking pad, let me know and I can give you some suggestions. But just marching in place, honestly. If you're a TV watcher, like you like your shows or, football is happening right now, just walking in place and marching in place actually, and you could do the whole thing that I said at the beginning of like, can I have a conversation like I'm having right now, or can I pick it up enough where I'm having pauses in my comfort conversation. So that could be the third thing that you do. And then wall or counter push-ups. Those of you that have gone through a mastectomy and are fully healed, the best way to start a push-up is like against a wall or on your counter because you're not getting the big pull from where the scarring is, but you're starting to build up the muscle in that area. And really, anyone, if you're starting to do a push-up and you've never done one before, that's a great way to start. And just regular stretching. And then, option B would be to do an easy walk and then some mobility, like I said, hips, ankles, shoulders. Or option C through, could be sit to stand. Sit to stand is just honestly exactly what it says, but it's like a squat. So you sit down on your like a dining room chair and then come up, or if you want to make it a little more challenging, your couch and come up using no hands. The sits to stands are really good. A supported row, so that can be with resistance bands or even a towel pulling back, and that's opening again those muscles, strengthening your back, and then just standing and doing calf raises. So those are just some ideas for movement that you can, these are things that we can do on our lower energy days. So the boom crash cycle, it's a super common pattern. So we're starting to feel a little bit better, right? It's like I'm having one of those good days. And this is where, I kind of go back and forth you listen to is this a high energy day? And I was saying like know when you're pushing too hard, because we want to avoid the crash. So you're having a good day. You've got some good energy. You really want to avoid doing too much because then I don't know if you've heard of DOMS. It's called delayed onset muscle soreness. So often people they come in, they work out with me. They'll text. If it's somebody new, I'm always like, "Hey, text me in a couple days. Let me know how you're feeling." They'll text me next day. I feel great. And then I get a text 2 days later. Everything hurts. I can't even stand up off the toilet. What is happening in my life? That's delayed onset muscle soreness, and it's really normal. But we don't want to get you so sore that you're hurting. People that are going through what you're going through. If you're post-treatment, having a hard workout and being pretty sore afterward is okay. Mid-treatment, it's not. It's not what we want to strive for when you're right in the middle of treatment. We want to keep you at about 70%. So working at like 70% of your max is as much as we want to do. Um, and just like I said, it's like if you can be consistent, if you can get something in every day, that's going to serve you better than a really high intensity workout. It just is. And just think in terms of progress is doing what is going to support your body today, where you are today. Staying consistent, like on those bad days, it's 5 minutes. On the great days, it can be 20, 30, 40. Um, so everybody likes progress, right? We want to know, like, how am I doing better? Am I, we are conditioned to want to progress. And that's a good thing. We want that. But it doesn't have to be big to be real, if that makes sense. So, um, the inching, the consistency, the slow progress can be one better than anything during this time. So like moving, like I said, if you're moving for 3 minutes daily and you weren't before, that's progress. So don't do the whole like, yeah, but it was only 3 minutes. But before you weren't doing 3 minutes. So be proud of that. Like a slower walk still counts. It doesn't have to be a run. Stretching and mobility, moving instead of pushing, your body counts. Also resting without guilt. Like that is an okay thing. Like I'm talking a lot about how important movement is. But that doesn't mean don't rest. So find that balance, right? If you're feeling really tired, it's the crap day, rest, and do a little bit less. Also, and I mentioned this before, asking asking for help really counts. And a lot of us don't like to ask for help. Um, but that's like I said, a big part of this program is having that coach mentor, having me, having our nutrition team. When you're like, I'm struggling today, you don't have to go it alone. You got a community here that wants to support you. I mean, our volunteer coach mentors, they want to be there for you. There is a reason that they're doing what they're doing. I want to be here for you. There's a reason that I'm here and that I created this program. And it's because I want to be able to support people. Um, and I will say, as somebody who's been the support system for so many people with cancer, we want to be able to do something when we really don't know what we can do. And so the people that love you are going to really appreciate you saying, "Hey, I could use your help. I actually, you know what? I could use you making me dinner tonight because I just got nothing." So asking for help, it really does count in this journey. This might sound like a little bit of a departure from the movement aspect of it. But that also could mean I'm really struggling to get out for a little walk. I just don't have any motivation. Will you come with me? Asking for that kind of help. And just remember too that like you're building a trust with your body. It's new. Your body's going through something that it wasn't before. And so you're building a trust with your body and learning like the new normal for now, anyway, if you're in treatment. And even the new normal post, because things are going to be a little bit different, but that doesn't mean that's not necessarily bad. We can work with that and we can get people back to where they need to be. Um, so I talked about having like a walking away with a plan. What I'd love for you all to do is kind of come up with your plan for this week. Like pick one option that you feel like you could repeat 3 times this week. And then maybe set like a little goal for whatever it's going to be. Like whatever. So pick what you want to do, set a goal. And I didn't put this bullet in there, but I'm going to say it to you now. Let your coach or mentor know, like this is what my option that I picked. This is what I'm going to try and do. This is my goal. And so they can be there to cheer you on. Some of you like accountability. I need accountability, so that's always like I'm always like, hey, this is what I'll tell the world. This is my goal, because I want to be held to it. Not everybody needs that or wants it. But whatever it is, it's always good to share, put it out in the universe. This is what I'd like to do. And then, and this is really important, track how you feel after you've done one of the things that you're going to do that week. So just note it somewhere. It can be in your notes on your phone. It could be if you're a pen to paper person, put it in your journal, whatever works for you. But just start to write it down, even if it's for only a week or two. Like write down how you're feeling. And then also like if one of the things that you write down that you're feeling is exhausted, um, that you for 2 days it was hard to walk, scale it down and know that that's not a failure. That's just wisdom. That's just learning. We're always learning. I make mistakes constantly. I'm learning hourly, really. Um, and so just to kind of recap what we've talked about, um, the fatigue that you feel if you're going through treatment is real. It is the most common and probably most discouraging um, byproducts of cancer. So know it's real. It's not your fault. You're not doing anything wrong. Um, and know that the one thing that you can do to combat that is to just move. Move safely, move gently, and allow that movement to provide some energy. And just like remember the zones, remember the three places. And again, this applies to anyone. You're allowed to have a bad day and just allow it in. Like, don't beat yourself up over it. Like, what is wrong with me? Why am I having such a bad day? You're having a bad day. It's okay. Know which day you're in, know which zone you're in, and then match what you want to do that day, but do something. Like I said, even if it's 3 minutes, and then just remember to stop. before the crash. Like if you 70% during treatment. Post treatment, you start feeling good, then sure, you can take it to 80, 90. But while you're in treatment, 70 should be your max. Like I've got a little bit left and I'm going to go ahead and keep it there so I can have it for the rest of the day and maybe it'll carry into tomorrow. And never feel like, oh gosh, I feel like I should have been doing so much more. Like Jen gave me this program and I committed to 3 days a week, 20 minutes a day, and I just haven't been doing that. Don't beat yourself up. You're not behind schedule. You're not meeting your goals. You're healing, and it's okay to do less than you had hoped. Um, just honor yourself and allow that in. I think one thing that it's been said often, but I think it always bears repeating is what would you say to someone that you loved that was going through what you're going through? And if they were like, gosh, I feel like I just failed. I haven't been doing all the things I said I was going to do. Think about what you would say to them and then say that to yourself.